You'll still have your house, your car, your bills, only now the paycheck that made all of it possible is gone, and the world's moving too fast for you to catch up. That's what no one talks about when they say AI is the future. It's not just tech changing, it's people losing the ground beneath their feet. How many years did you spend getting good at your job? 5, 10, more. The late nights, the certifications, the student loans you're still paying off, all those sacrifices you made. None of it matters anymore, because AI doesn't care that you worked hard. The market doesn't care that you have a mortgage. In August, pharma cut 19,000 jobs. 1 month, finance, 18,000 more. These weren't bad employees, they were just replaceable. See, let me show you some numbers you can't argue with. ChatGPT reached a quarter of American homes in 5 days. The internet took 7 years. Electricity took 46 years. That's not a trend, that's acceleration. And it's not slowing down, it's compounding. OpenAI's usage doubles every 6 months. At that rate, the job you have today won't exist in 18 months. Might not exist. Won't. And nobody's going to knock on your door and tell you your career is dying. It's quieter than that. First, they bring in tools to help you work more efficiently. Then they don't replace your coworker who left. We can manage with the team we have. Then they restructure. Then you're out. And you'll have no idea how to compete in a market that moved on without you. Right now, while you're watching this, someone with your exact job title just got let go. Not because they were bad at their job, but because a machine learned their pattern. Which leads me to ask this question, and I need you to be brutally honest with yourself right now. But how much of your job follows a pattern? I'm serious. Think about what you did yesterday. How many of those tasks were repeatable? Predictable? Something you've done 100 times before? Because here's what you need to understand. AI is a pattern recognition machine. That's all it is. It doesn't need to think like you. It doesn't need to be creative like you. It just needs to see the pattern in what you do. And once it sees it, you're done. Filing insurance claims? Pattern. Processing invoices? Pattern. Scheduling meetings? Pattern. Even the smart stuff, diagnosing patients, reviewing legal contracts, analyzing data, it's all just pattern recognition. If Elon Musk is willing to bet Tesla's entire future on cameras and neural networks, recognizing patterns to drive cars at 70 miles per hour, what does that tell you about your desk job? Now, let me tell you about 2 companies. One was Kodak. This story I am about to tell you shows you exactly what choice you're facing right now. In 1996, Kodak had a $28 billion valuation, 140,000 employees, controlled 90% of the film market. They were untouchable. However, one of their own engineers invented the digital camera in 1975, showed it to management. They laughed at him, told him to never mention it again. Why? Because it threatened their film business, the thing that made them billions. They chose to protect what they knew instead of adapting to what was coming. By 2012, Kodak was bankrupt. The second company is Adobe. Same industry, same disruption heading their way. Different choice. When AI hit, they didn't fight it. They didn't pretend it wasn't real. They built Firefly, baked AI directly into Photoshop, Illustrator, everything. Their stock up 5x since 2020. 2 companies, same threat. One is extinct, one is thriving. That's the choice you're facing right now. Are you Kodak or are you Adobe? Because I promise you, the disruption doesn't care which one you pick. It's coming either way. And if you think I'm exaggerating, let me show you what's already happened. Since 2020, 350,000 cashier jobs just gone. Wendy's has an AI ordering system that handles 86% of orders without a single human. Harvey AI is being used by 50 of the world's largest law firms, replacing lawyers who spent 7 years in school. QuickBooks has an AI bookkeeper that categorizes expenses automatically. Junior accountants are becoming extinct. Manufacturing lost 78,000 jobs this year. And now Big Oil is planning 25% workforce cuts by 2026. But here's what should terrify you. These aren't just low-skilled jobs. McKinsey says 1/3 of US workers will need to switch occupations by 2030, not upskill, not retrain. Switch, as in your job literally doesn't exist anymore. And you know what the common thread is across all these disappearing jobs? They follow patterns, predictable workflows, repeatable tasks, the exact things you spent years getting good at. So if you follow that logic, everything comes down to this. Can AI or a robot do your job faster, cheaper, and better than you? Not will it eventually? Can it do it right now? Because if the answer is yes, You're already on borrowed time. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter how good you are. Electricity put lamplighters out of work. They were great at their job. Best in the world at lighting lamps. Didn't matter. Obsolete overnight. Refrigerators killed ice cutters. Guys who spent their entire lives perfecting the craft of cutting ice from frozen lakes, gone. Your expertise isn't a shield. It might be an anchor. It might be the thing that makes you refuse to see what's coming. Because while you were busy becoming the best at what you do, the world moved on to not needing it done by a human anymore. There are two types of people watching this. The first type is already thinking of reasons I'm wrong. My job is different. It requires human judgment. AI can't do what I do. This is just fear-mongering. They're going to click away, go back to work tomorrow, and hope they're in the lucky group that doesn't get automated. But hope is not a strategy. The second type, however, feels it in their gut, that tension, because they've seen the signs, and they're scared, which is good, because being scared means you're paying attention. Now, here's what nobody's telling you about which jobs survive and which ones die. The jobs that die first have 4 things in common. 1, they're predictable. I have mentioned that before. Same tasks, same workflows, day after day. 2, they're measurable. You can track the output, count the widgets, measure the result. 3, they don't require physical trust. Nobody needs to let you into their home, handle their kids, or touch their body. 4, they can be done remotely. If you can do it over Zoom, an AI can learn to do it too. Now look at your job. How many of those 4 does it have? If it's 1 or 2, you've got time, but not much. Because the thing about AI that makes this different from every other disruption in history is that it learns exponentially. The longer it exists, the faster it gets better. Which means the timeline between AI can't do this and AI does this better than humans is collapsing. And nobody understands this better than Elon Musk. At Tesla, he made a bet that everyone said was insane. He rejected LiDAR, the expensive laser mapping system every other car company was using. Instead, cameras, neural networks, pattern recognition. Why? Because he understood something the rest of Silicon Valley didn't. You don't need to replicate human thinking to replace human workers. You just need enough data to see the patterns. Tesla's cameras don't see the road like you see it. They recognize patterns, lane markings, stop signs, merging traffic, all repeatable rules. And the more miles they drive, the better they get. Billions of miles of data, all feeding the algorithm, making it smarter, faster, more accurate. Now think about what that means for your job. If Elon is willing to bet Tesla's entire future, human lives hurtling down freeways at 70 miles per hour, on pattern recognition, what does that tell you about your desk job? Your email responses, pattern. Your meeting notes, pattern. Your client presentations, pattern. Tesla teaches machines to read the road. And every company right now is teaching machines to read your job. Every time you use one of those productivity tools your company rolled out, you're training your replacement. That AI assistant that helps you write emails faster, it's learning how you write. That automation software that handles your scheduling, it's learning your decision-making process. That dashboard that tracks your work, it's measuring exactly what you do so they can replicate it. You think you're being more efficient. You're actually creating the data set they'll use to automate you out of existence. And the crazy part is you're doing it for free, but losing your job isn't even the worst part. You can get another job. Maybe. The real problem is what happens to your wealth while you're scrambling. Because here's what nobody told you. The corporate ladder was always a trap. It just paid well enough that most people didn't realize it. Fidelity did a study. 88% of millionaires are self-made. Sounds inspiring, right? Here's what they don't tell you. Almost none of them got rich climbing a corporate ladder. They built businesses. They invested in assets. They owned things. The people who spent 30 years working their way up to VP, they're comfortable. Maybe, but they're not wealthy. And now AI is pulling the rug out from under that entire system. Because you can't out-earn automation with a salary. You can't outsave inflation by working harder. The only way to build real wealth is ownership. Owning businesses, owning assets, owning your future. Not renting your time to someone who's actively looking for a cheaper option. So let me give you a timeline, because you need to understand exactly how little time you have. Right now, AI can handle about 40% of knowledge work tasks. 2 years ago, that number was 15%. 12 months from now, that's going to be 60%, maybe 70%. 18 months, companies start mass layoffs because they've figured out the AI workflows. 24 months, the job market floods with people who waited too long. And here's the thing about being in that second wave. By then, everyone else figured it out too. You'll be competing against millions of other people who are just as desperate, just as qualified, and just as late. Right now, you have a window. It's not a big window, and it's closing fast. Listen, I know this feels overwhelming. I know you're sitting there thinking, what am I supposed to do? So let me make it brutally simple. You have two paths in front of you. The first one is to keep doing what you're doing. Hope your job is safe. Wait and see what happens. That path ends with you competing against millions of displaced workers for fewer and fewer jobs that pay less and less. The second path is to accept that the world changed. Stop mourning what's gone. Adapt. Learn how to use AI instead of being replaced by it. Build something of your own instead of depending on someone else's paycheck. Own assets instead of just earning income. That path is harder. It's scarier, but it's the only one that leads somewhere you actually want to go. Because here's the truth. The future doesn't belong to employees. It belongs to builders. People who use AI as leverage to do what used to take entire teams. Now look, not everyone is going to build their own business. I get that. So if you're looking to stay employed, here are the categories that have the longest runway. 1. AI builders and architects. Demand up 75% since 2020. Fastest growing job category on LinkedIn. And it's not just PhDs. Prompt engineers are making six figures. These are people who know how to get AI to produce the right output. It's a weird new skill, but it's becoming a career. 2. Cybersecurity specialists. Spending projected to hit $200 billion by 2030. Governments, hospitals, banks, everyone's scrambling to defend against AI-driven hacks. Number 3, clean energy technicians. Wind turbine jobs are up 45% this decade. Number 4, healthcare workers with AI integration. Doctors, nurses, and specialists who learn to use AI tools are becoming indispensable. AI is cutting drug development from 6 years to 18 months, creating millions of new biotech jobs. And finally, number 5, skilled trades. Electricians, plumbers, HVAC. Jobs that require physical dexterity and trust aren't getting automated anytime soon. There are also freelancers too. Those are your safe harbors if you want to stay employed. And honestly, if you can get into one of those fields, do it. They're solid. They're growing, and they'll be around for a while. But here's what I need you to understand. Even the safest job is still just a job. You're still trading time for money. You're still capped by how many hours you can work. You're still one restructuring away from scrambling. And that's why I need to tell you about something else. Something most people don't know exists. Remember that Fidelity stat? 88% of millionaires are self-made? I dug into how they actually did it, and I found something fascinating. There's one business model that keeps showing up. It's been around forever, but AI just made it 100 times easier. You don't need employees. You don't need inventory. You don't need to show your face. And the best part is that the barrier to entry just collapsed. What used to take months now takes hours. What used to require a team of 10, you can do solo. This is the model that regular people, not tech geniuses, not millionaires or influencers, are using to build real income, 5 figures a month, some pushing 6. And they're doing it while everyone else is panicking about AI taking their jobs. I made an entire video breaking this down. The market, the numbers, the exact process, real examples of people doing this right now, the actual step-by-step, everything. The video is going to pop up on your screen right now. Click it. And don't let your skepticism make you miss this. Just watch it. Look at the evidence. Then decide. Because this isn't about me convincing you. This is about you not letting skepticism rob you of an opportunity you'll regret missing. The window is open. But it won't stay that way. Click it. Now, I'll see you in the next video.